out of tune again. And I got no monitor. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm off the scene with a guitar. And they call me on the phone. They say, hey, man, what's your show about anyway? And I say, well, it's about an hour. It's about guitars, guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the deal. If you want to call me on the phone, ask me a question about how to play the guitar, the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you? You want to talk about some related topic like the guitarrón, the cithara, the lute, the oud, the vihuela, the chitole, the sitar, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, tiples, cuatros, cavaquinhos. Did I mention ukuleles or banjoleles? We'll talk about like trombones or tromba marinas. This would be an excellent show to talk about tromba marinas. You know, pianos, you know, pianolas, harmoniums, harpsichords or harmonicas. Clarinets, clavinets, clavichords, saxophones or sackbuts, crumhorns, quartholts, cornetos, pipe organs, piccolos, ocarinas, accordions, I don't know, anything. With music, politics, world events, your own personality problems, that's fine too, but keep it clean. This is a family program. So does that monitor work today, or is it, could the monitor be on, or? It's not on, but... I mean, just wondered, maybe it just needs to be turned on or something. I got everybody here. It's great. We got a big crew going on. We got the boss there.
Now we know we're important when the boss comes out to turn us on.
Yeah. That's usually just a countdown, isn't it? I mean, usually use that one, but
the big one's not on either, Josh.
This is the one you want?
Yeah, we usually use that one. I don't know if it's maybe it's off or a turn. I don't know what it is. Hey, Mike. We got Mike on the show, working on the show too. So we're, I don't know what's going on. Anyway. So I actually brought my blue Stratocaster because I've been playing this a lot lately, the last couple of days, and it was easy to grab. Oh, here we go.
That's what should be on the big monitor.
Okay. That's fine with me. That one is a... I was in tune when we started. When I got here, I was in tune, but when we turn on these French fry lights, you know, in the studio and everything, guitars tend to... tend to go flat a little bit with the heat or something.
There we go.
I'm sorry. People are plugging things in, and I'm trying to get in tune. This is like a really, really boring show.
We always say we're going to keep doing this show till we get it right. We're not there yet.
I'm afraid what would happen if we got the show right.
Well, that'd be the last they'd ever see of us.
I suppose, yeah. People watch this show, but actually what they do, I think they just flip the channels back and forth, and they have commercials.
They watch us when the commercial stations are on commercial.
Yeah, I see. Oh, there's the guitar guy again. Click, that's the next one. But so, well, I'm just going to play a little blues or something. Anyway, so what is this? It's September 11th, and you know it was a Tuesday when the Twin Towers went down, and we were on TV that day, 11 years ago, and interesting.
I was still employed back then.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we listened to it all day on the radio.
Yeah, I guess I went into the. I slept kind of late, you know, and I went into the mechanics at like noon to get my car out of hock, you know, because I left it there the night before, and I was on the TV. I said, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, it's a mess." But the interesting thing about it, though, is people are. I mean, I remember last year, the 10th anniversary of it. He was on. I think it was on the weekend, and so some people I was playing for, they were like, one guy was in New York at the time, and he felt very patriotic about it and everything like that, and it was an interesting concept to me. But then. This year, you know, a lot of stuff is coming out now about all the many warnings that the Bush administration had that this was going to be. You know, all the daily briefings, presidential PDBs, presidential daily briefings, and but the thing is that they had such a strong neocon ideology that they thought that was that Bin Laden was playing games with them to make them. Well, this is what somebody thinks in the New York Times anyway, that he's playing games with them to get them to shift their focus away from Saddam Hussein. And as we know, Saddam Hussein did not have weapons of mass destruction.
Or anything to do with 9/11.
Or nothing to do with that. And actually, he was secular. He was like a Soviet. He admired Stalin, who was an atheist. And Osama bin Laden was, of course, extremely religious. That was his whole thing. He was... So the thing is that... you know, the whole September 11th thing could easily have been avoided, probably. I mean, it was like, why couldn't they have, you know, why couldn't it have been avoided? It would probably, you know, would have been, or at least they could have scrambled. They had no airplanes to follow those jets. You know, they were told to stand down because of a training exercise and all this other stuff. It was like all this stuff, but it's coming. More stuff is coming out now, 11 years later, that the as more things are becoming declassified. So there were a lot of these, you know, presidential daily briefings, like a whole bunch of them, not just the one that, you know, that Condoleezza Rice had to testify about, how Saddam Hussein was determined to strike within the U.S., you know, soon, basically, was the headline. And she, in her testimony, she said it was a historical. She thought there was a historical document. But what they did was they didn't heed any. There were a lot more warnings than that, like a whole bunch of them, and they didn't heed any of them because they thought, or I don't know what they did, but they had a bunch of these warnings, and the idea is that they didn't heed them because they were so into their ideology that they wanted to get Saddam Hussein, and so he had.
And there were some memos passed around the FBI about these guys that were taking the flight school.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Yeah. And there were a lot of, and the guy was Clark, Wesley Clark, or was it? You know, he was the people from the previous administration, which had been keeping an eye on this, you know, the Al Qaeda or whatever, this terror organization. They were marginalized, and you know, the people who, you know, they had been on the job before,
right.
So all their warnings were ignored.
Clark Clifford, maybe. Does that sound right?
Nah, Wesley Clark. Well, was it Wesley Clark?
Wesley Clark was a general, but I don't
okay, somebody else. Wesley. Who was
I'm
it?
standing next to the Google machine. I'll take a look and see what I can find.
Who was the guy who? Oh man. Well, I'll play something, but it's an interesting thing. I would say that it doesn't make me feel proud that this was allowed to happen. I mean, I don't think it was like a patriotic moment. I mean, we all came together. We invaded Iraq. And that helped a lot. It helped us get $3 trillion deeper in debt. And kill a lot of people that didn't do anything to us. You might dislike Saddam Hussein, but the bombs fell on just plain folks, you know. Anyway, I think things are happening to people. Richard Clark. Hey, Bob, try Richard Clark.
Richard Clark, yeah.
Not Dick Clark.
Yeah. World's oldest teenager.
That's right, yes.
I found one there that said they've declassified a bunch of CIA memos that said that Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda were trying to attack within the USA, and they said people within the Bush administration, but it doesn't name them, said that Osama bin Laden was just a distraction to get our eye off of Saddam Hussein in Iraq.
Right. Which is what they wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
But the thing was, apparently Dick Cheney, so Cheney and Bush were oil guys, so they worked for oil people. And they didn't get their hands dirty. I mean, metaphorically they did, but
Right.
But they, so I think one of the things is that they didn't want, because see, they had like a second largest amount of oil under the ground there in the world that they knew of. And they didn't want that to be, like in the wrong hands.
All the profits from Iraq's oil were going to European oil dealers instead of American oil dealers.
We can't have that, yeah.
Yeah.
But also they had, they had the power because, and so they'd nationalized the oil fields, and now what the war did accomplish though was it made the contracts open for bidders, so that the corporations could do it instead of like a national oil company would be open for corporations to exploit. So. Yeah, so I think, I mean, if you're an oil person, the Iraq thing was a big success. And if you're a defense contractor, the Iraq thing was a big success for you. If you were a soldier or an Iraqi or an American taxpayer, it's...
Yeah, bad deal for most everybody except the people selling weapons.
And oil.
And American oil companies.
Yeah. Huh. And the Chinese, I don't know if they'll ever get their trillions of dollars back. We borrowed, because it wasn't on the part of the budget. It was like,
right. Yeah, the whole war was fought off budget.
Yeah.
So it's still there on the credit card.
We didn't hear anything about that in the Republican convention, though. I don't think. Didn't hear anything about George Bush or Dick Cheney or anything. I don't think.
Yeah, everybody's all for fiscal responsibility when the other party's in the White House.
Right. When the Democrats are in the White House, but because they were, like having a jobs program or something for the unemployed or something, that would be too expensive. But yeah, I don't know. Well. So anyway, at least we found out I wasn't just making that up about the declassified documents. Anyway, I don't know. I think somebody said, well, you shouldn't talk about politics, but I'm talking about history. And
well, no, we've said we do talk about politics. We just try to keep it clean.
That's right. That's right. Well, the thing is, though, this is sort of an information. I mean, the TV thing. You know, we do. I mean, I guess I really should be just talking about sharps and flats, but I've done that a lot over the last many years. And the thing is that like a lot of people maybe are misinformed by traditional media, like the regular news shows, because like after like before we started bombing Iraq, there's a lot of a lot of people ginning up the public support for this. And I was in a suit store, actually. I was waiting to get my nails done at the nail boutique at the mall. There was a line, so I went to the suit store, and I was surprised. The guy who they had hats. I was looking maybe for a new hat, and the guy working there, the salesman, quickly told me that he was actually a Bible studies teacher in Cedar Rapids, and he could read the Greek and everything like that. And he was very much in favor of bombing Iraq and invading them. And and one of the things he said, after 9/11, we have to do something. And I said, well, yeah, but those aren't the people who, bombed us. For one thing, they were Shiite, and instead of Sunni Muslims, they were, and it was a secular country. I mean, the thing is, Saddam Hussein was not religious. He became religious later, or made reference, pretended to be.
Yeah, he got religion real fast when it looked like there was going to be a war and he needed some help.
He needed some help, yeah. But before he was secular, which has actually made it easier for like Christians and Jews to live there, right. Because and it's really rough on the Iraqi Christians now, and a lot of them had to leave. But anyway, but this guy was really in favor of it. So after that, we had to do something. And then there was this sort of kindly looking old man who came in the store also and joined this conversation. Because my point was I didn't think it was a good idea because a lot of civilians would get killed, which is my same thing with people I know who want to bomb Iran. I say you shouldn't do it because you'll kill a lot of people, and it probably won't get the one you want. You won't kill the guy you want to kill. You'll kill a lot of other people instead. But this sort of kindly looking old man said, I wouldn't mind if they bombed that entire country flat like a tennis court. I thought, that's not very nice. But
I saw that in a lot of places though. Bomb them to glass.
Bomb them to glass. And what? And they didn't really do anything to us. I guess.
Well, no, we made the mess in Iran.
Yeah.
60 years ago, Iran was a democracy.
Right.
But they were afraid that the democratic government was going to nationalize the oil.
Right.
So the CIA and MI6 overthrew the government and installed the Shah.
Right. And then the Shah was overthrown, and then
then the religious fanatics took over.
Right.
The religious fanatics didn't rise out of a vacuum. The Shah was a dictator and made a lot of people mad.
Yeah.
The religious nuts were the ones that would lead the people against him.
Right. And, yeah.
Anyway, Richard Clarke has a slightly different spin on it. He says the CIA withheld information from the FBI and the White House.
Huh.
Before I looked that up, I had the New York Times there, and they were saying that the CIA was sending all kinds of memos to the White House saying that Osama bin Laden is looking for a way to attack the U.S. inside the U.S.
And
then someone in the White House was saying, that's not true, that's a distraction.
I see. And they wouldn't say who. Well,
that article doesn't. I will continue to peruse this.
All right.
We'll see what else I find.
Well, you find some more stuff. We're doing our September 11th anniversary
Make
show.
some music while I do that.
Yeah, I'll do something else. Just fooling around. Did you find anything interesting in there?
Well, Yeah, but a lot of it's pretty dubious.
Oh, oh yeah. Well,
What's there from reliable sources is mostly that there was plenty of warning, but the Bush administration just wasn't interested in Al Qaeda before it happened, or much afterwards, for a while.
or even after that. I mean, after it was job one, he was going to get him and bring his head back. But then after that, like a year later, he said, "Well, I don't care that much what he does."
Right.
So, yeah.
But there's a lot of the truther stuff in there, and Mossad was behind the whole thing and that kind of stuff. You know how the internet is.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Yeah. But what do you consider a credible source anymore? I mean, I don't really.
Yeah.
I mean, like the New York Times.
The New York Times and CBS are, the major media. At least, I know, but they're a lot more credible than some of the other things you find on the internet.
That's right. But then there was, what's her name? She was for New York Times. She works for Fox now, I think. But she was saying all this stuff.
Oh yeah, Miller, isn't it?
Yeah, something Miller.
Judith Miller, does that sound right?
Judith Miller, yeah. And now she's a commentator for Fox, and every time she comes on, I go to these different blogs and stuff, and they're video clips of her opinions of things, and which are really, not. I mean, just straight ahead, right wing kind of propaganda type of stuff, and it's like, well, who are you to be telling? I mean, after you've discredited yourself, I mean, to that degree.
Well, if Fox went to court and won the right to lie. So.
That's true. They did. They won the right to in Florida or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can say anything they want.
A local Fox affiliate down there. A couple of their reporters did a story on a synthetic hormone additive that was being given to dairy cows. The European Union and Canada have banned this stuff. I don't know, it's DuPont, one of the big chemical companies. Got to the local Fox affiliate and said, "Don't run that." So they told the people, "You can't run that." And they made the report anyway, and they fired them. And
oh yeah.
So they tried the whistleblower thing, and Fox went to court and said, "There's an FCC rule that says you can't lie," but they said that's not a law, so the whistleblower rule doesn't apply.
I see. It's a rule. It's not a law.
Yeah. And they won a pretty big judgment against the reporters.
Yeah. That's what you get for telling the truth.
And the court said there's no law against a broadcaster lying.
Well, I suppose that leaves us to say, where can you trust?
Yeah.
I know you can't.
Who can you trust? I guess you better watch Tom's Guitar Show.
That's what I was going to say. Tom's Guitar Show. I wouldn't lie. This chord is an E minor 9. Okay. I didn't lie about that. That's true, isn't it? Well, that's an E add 9, but and this is an E minor 9. See,
I taped a barbershop concert today, and they said what makes them barbershop is that they use a lot of sevenths.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dominant 7, that's 7 notes above the root, above the tonic, the 1, like if it's C, so 7 notes above C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then flatted. So that's dominant 7. That's what people refer to as 7, they mean a dominant 7. Some people are so pedantic they'll say C, D-O-M 7. But you don't see that very often because C7 is a C dominant 7. Now, if it's C major 7, that means you just put the 7th note of the chord, 7th note of the scale in it, and you have a C major 7. Isn't that pretty? There's one. Hang on. It's a hard one to play, though.
Now tell us what Hawaiian slack key means.
Oh, yeah, well, Hawaiian slack key is an alternate tuning for your guitar. It's called the slack key because they generally tune the strings down. And we had a bat flying around last night, and I had to get up in the morning. And anyway, low ceiling and bat flying around over your head. Anyway, never mind. It upset the cat. She slept all day afterwards. You know.
When I worked up at the warehouse, we used to find them dead every now and then. The fans would get them.
Oh, yeah.
We had ceiling fans, and whenever the furnace came on, the fan would come on too. And every now and then we'd find a dead bat near one of those fans.
Well, I don't wish the bats ill, and if I walk around, like I live by the cemetery, I walk around the Oakland Cemetery and over by the Black Angel and stuff sometimes, and to walk there around there at night, you know, the bats are flying around my head, you know, but they're like several feet, you know, they're up in the sky a bit more. They're eating the bugs.
They're not after you; they're after the mosquitoes.
That's right. And they weren't after me in my bedroom either. They were just flying around, you know, a few feet above my head, and I didn't like that. And I had to get up anyway. So, but anyways, Hawaiian Slacky. I should probably do a thing about that. I'd bring a guitar in and retune it. I don't want to retune this one that way because it's rough on the strings and everything. It'd be better with an acoustic guitar. But what you do is you turn it down to like an open chord, and even like in Hawaii, back in the heyday of all this, they different clans would have different tunings. They have secret tunings. They tune their guitars in secret and not let anybody know. So you have an alternate, tuning so like the guitar is an open chord or something. You know, there are a bunch of different alternate tunings for guitars, in which case all the chords are different. So I do like 2 or 3 other tunings, or 3 or 4, I guess, if you count something simple. There's drop D, double D, open G, open D, dad gad. I guess, and then I do the same thing, like a whole step lower, which is hardly counts because it's all the same fingerings. But I used to do that all the time. That was a big thing, a real big thing. Everybody had all the fingerstyle guitar players had to know lots of different tunings. I just haven't heard much about it lately. That was but I should do a show about that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the origins of tuning here one week, and found, you know, in cathedrals they had different choruses had different pitch pipes that supposedly, you know, an A here wasn't the same thing as an A there.
Yeah.
Within the same cathedral.
Yeah. Well, the sound
and for a long time before the pitch pipes, there was nothing. You know, everybody did it by ear to what suited them.
Right. Some better than others. Some people have perfect pitch. I mean, that's natural. Now, I read an article. Actually, there's a podcast called Radio Lab. It's a like public radio show out of New York, and you can get it online as podcasts. Yeah. And there was one from like maybe 5 years ago or more called Musical Language. And so if you like Googled Radio Lab Musical Language, you probably come up with it. And but there's this one thing that like Chinese kids, because Chinese languages are tone languages. So
I think most Asian languages.
No, a lot of them aren't. I mean, like Japanese certainly isn't, but there are a lot of languages, and like Cambodian and Vietnamese. I think but the thing is the same in the Chinese. You know, I forget which dialect, but in several dialects anyway, the same word means something different if you sing it, if you say it in a different register. So you learn how to say the word in this one note from infancy. So they go to like the Beijing conservatory, and then they go to an American conservatory, and they test the kids, you know, and the American kids 16% of them have perfect pitch. These are like the best musicians, you know, and in China it's like 80-something% have perfect pitch, because that's the way they learn, you know, tones. But now, of course, having perfect pitch doesn't necessarily make you a better musician, because I mean, I have relative pitch, I guess. If I really think about it, I can remember what an A440 sounds like, this note here, you know. But, you know, I don't have perfect pitch. I have relative pitch, which is just something you can learn, you know. And but this note, you know, I get this off a tuning fork, see? So I can tune my guitar to the tuning fork, and then after that, everything's all relative.
Right.
You know, so I guess if I were going to sing something, I could strum a chord. You gotta, you know, I was trying to sing like Bob Dylan. It doesn't matter if I'm on the note, then, but you know, I can use a chord and like, you got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend. So I can sing the right note because I have the guitar, and once I get the first note, my relative pitch kicks in. So having perfect pitch is not necessarily that big an advantage. So I mean, you know,
there's a running on cable this month is a movie that Dolly Parton and Stallone made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rhinestone. And anyway, it's about she's a singer and she makes a bet that the next guy coming down the street, she can make him into a singer, and the next guy down the street, Stallone.
Oh, boy.
So I saw an interview with her one time that they were recording the movie soundtrack album afterwards. And she said one of the songs, what key is it in? And one of her session guys said, there isn't any key. That was Stallone's song.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's about right, but...
Should we mention where you'll be this weekend?
Well, I'll be in Kelowna this weekend. I'll be at the Tuscan Moon, and at Friday and Saturday night. I'm going to play... I'll be playing the guitar there at the Tuscan Moon. Wow. Oh, time flies when you're having fun. Sorry, I got the guy holding up the sign telling me, anyway, what time it is. Yeah, I'll be at the Tuscan Moon in the middle of downtown Kelowna, Iowa.
Hysterical downtown Kelowna.
That's right, yeah. Well...
Where you can see those horses and buggies.
You can see horses and buggies. Although last Saturday, which I forgot to mention on the show, because I forgot about it, was there was a car show. And they're having all these events, you know, and this was a shiny cars from the 50s and 60s, and they had a DJ, an older, retired DJ, who was playing he has a massive record collection of songs from the 50s and 60s. So they had the street in front of the Tuscan Moon blocked off, and they had a 59 Chevy Impala 1, shiny red, you know, looked like it was brand new. There was a Cobra there, and an Edsel, and some other cars, an older car from probably the 30s or whatever. But yeah, there was and then apparently somebody showed up in a beat up Lincoln Continental with mud all over the tires and rust in it, and they opened up the hood and it was dirty in there, because usually they open up the hood and it's just like you can eat your lunch off of it. But anyway, so
at car shows anyway.
At car shows, yeah. So anyway, so it was and there were people dancing and everything. So I thought I wasn't going to be playing, but I went there and there were people who were happy to be inside and not, you know, dancing to the music from the 50s around the shiny cars with fins. So I played there Saturday night also, after doing a wedding. There's a story I shouldn't tell, but... Okay, so I played the wedding in Amana in their church there, and the little girl, the flower girl, she wasn't feeling very well, and she was violently ill on the floor, basically right in front of me, because I was sitting off to the side waiting for my cues. You know, I played the prelude music and the 3 processionals, the seating of the grandparents, or the parents, the little flower girl, the bridesmaids, the groomsmen coming down, and then the bride. So there are 3 different songs and everything. And I played a little thing in the middle for when their friend got up to read something from Ecclesiastes or something, and then the recessional, you know, and then some postlude music while everybody's waiting to go meet the bride and groom now that they're married. So that was my gig, you know, that's what I do. And but the little girl, you know, was sick right on the floor in front of me. And then the padre up there would tell us, okay, everybody bow your heads in prayer. I looked down there, and there it was, you know. And then her little brother, somebody, you know, hustled her off to an alcove somewhere, you know, to clean her up a little bit. Right. And her little brother, who was even younger, he looked at it, he was dwelling on it, you know, starting to get a little queasy and stuff like that. So I just started, like, you know, to him, and he went just like this to me. And anyway, it was just trying to bow your heads in prayer. And this, anyway.
Like I saw Foxworthy on TV here a while back talking about, you know, the life dogs have. They eat their own vomit.
Yeah.
They eat the cat's poop out of the litter box.
Yeah.
And they're fine. But if they eat half a candy bar, they die.
Yeah. Well, they're different from us. So. Yeah. They're closer to nature.
Should we mention that Mr. Skopinski is training a new director this week?
Well, we do have a new staff person. We have Sarah back there, and she's so I can see her behind the glass.
I promised her we wouldn't try to scare her off this first night, but you know, you can't trust me. Maybe we should invite her out here into the light.
No, she's on staff now, so she's and you're working the night shift, aren't you? You're working late. Yeah. So So all the PH, if she can handle all the PHTV personalities, then she's fine. She can take care of herself. She's fine. So she'll be on the late night shift here. But yeah, Sarah, new employee here, and we welcome you on board, and glad to have you. We needed the help. So yeah, things are going well here at PATV. Actually, we've increased a lot. There's a lot more. There's a lot more traffic. A lot more people we've increased the number of computers we use for editing. So there are more and more.
We have some new cables tonight.
And we got new cables.
As much as we fussed about that, now we've got shiny new cables out here.
Brand new cables. So everybody be careful how you coil them. We don't want to kink them. Just let them go with the curve. Go with the natural. But yeah, we're. But I'm saying we're
and we had Fearless Leader out here pulling cables to get us on the air tonight.
Oh yeah, that's right. Our boss, Josh, our Fearless Leader. Yeah, he was. But I mean, I think things are going very well here. We have more and more people making TV shows and editing stuff. People have said, "Well, now we have YouTube. We don't need PATV anymore." And I say, "Well, YouTube is. I mean, you have your phone. You make a movie with your phone. It's nasty. Here you can have high definition cameras. You have a TV studio. You have loyal crew." You have editing facilities, you have expertise. You could ask Sarah to help you out. She'd probably tell you how to get it done, I mean, I'd be like mixed up and stuff.
Some of those of us in the Geritol generation don't know what to do with a computer, but we've all got a TV set we can turn on.
That's right. Well, yeah, I don't have a TV set, but but I have a little video player thing it's actually meant to be put on the back of a headrest in a car so that kids can watch TV while they're riding in the minivan.
And my son has one of those.
Yeah, I don't have anything hooked up. I think I've got a DVD player somewhere I can hook it up to if I want to. I could, but if I need to watch TV, I've got that. I can't get any stations on it, of course. But anyway, I have a.
Oh, it's just a TV monitor.
It's just a monitor, yeah. I don't have the tuner. Somewhere in storage, I have some VCRs, but the tuner won't help me on there either anymore.
Oh, you can use a VCR. Oh, that's right.
So,
or your monitor doesn't have video and AV in.
It has AV in, but I do have
oh, that's right. You can't use your VCR for a tuner because it's analog, right?
It's analog. Yeah, okay. It's old. So, because you use VHS tape.
Yeah.
And it's in storage anyway. It probably doesn't even work.
Well, they sell some VCRs now that take analog tape, but they'll tune digital stations.
Well, if I could buy a TV, I suppose. I mean,
because everybody's old home movies are still on VHS,
right?
But if you're going to tune to current stations, they have to be able to tune digital.
That's right. So, I actually looked at. You can get a little portable TV. It's for like there was one at Radio Shack, little thing about this big, on sale for like $80 or something like that. But okay, I got a call, and I thought about buying it, but I don't want to watch TV. Unless it was Tom's Guitar. Anyway, hello, you're on Tom's Guitar Show.
Yeah, I was watching a couple weeks ago, and the guitar you had you could do a good version of Grooveyard on it. Do you know Grooveyard by Bobby Timmons?
What was the song again?
Grooveyard.
Grooveyard?
Davy Graham did a version of it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I played the same chords or something. I didn't know the song, though.
Okay. Do you know Can't Find My Way Back Home? Do you have a version of that?
Yeah, I could try. I've been meaning to learn that one to make it into a guitar solo.
Okay.
I like
don't know, or some English folky thing. Could.
Oh, I might have The Water's Wide or Scarborough Fair or As She Moved Through the Fair. There's like is that it? You still there? I think I lost him. Yeah, I lost him. Well. then. That one up, and there's also this one. Back next week.